So, okay, so now it is being recorded. Okay. So if you want to insert this X in this list and yet maintain the new set to be sorted, then just login is not good enough. In the worst case, you have to spend shifting this all of them and making it, you have to spend, in the worst case, X can be the first bit, right? Maybe X has to go here. In that case, every point has to be shifted by 1. So this basically would take, in the case of an array, this would take order n steps to insert. Now this is again, if assuming that A1 to AN are sorted and stored in an array. Now, can you save on this? Can you save on this thing? It's all about data storage, right? It's all about various data, how you can store a data and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, one thing that you can say that, okay, what happens if I don't store it in an array, but if I store it in a, say, linked list, then what happens? So whenever you store in a data structure, some particular form of data structure, the data structure has its inherent structure. And whenever we say that we want to insert something in that or remove something from that, the main idea is that I want to remove it or insert it or whatever I want to do while maintaining the property of the data structure. So in a linked list, what happens? So in a linked list, these are, you don't have random access memory. So which means that in a linked list, I have this one A1, then I have linked to A2, I have a link to AN. Now issue is that if I have to find if X is in A1 to AN, right? This takes order n steps because I have to go through all of them. It's not a random access memory. Okay. And if I have to insert, then what do I have to do? Now, for insert, surprisingly, it is very good, right? If I have to insert between, say, A5 and A6, I know that I have to insert X over here. All I do is that I remove this link over here, put X in a box, put 2 different links, and that's done. So the insert is order 1. So you see that different data structures gives us these various nice properties. In the case of arrays, I can find it very quickly, but I cannot insert easily. In the case of linked list, I can find with a lot of hard work, but I can insert quickly. Now, this is where things can become interesting. Like, can you do it even faster? Is there a way of storing a data in all the things in a data structure? Okay, so this is a question that I would like you guys to think. Is there a data structure where find and insert both can be done in or small o of n? This is small o, okay, or much lower than n, okay, say much lower than n steps. Is it possible? Both of them can be done in much lower than n steps.
Array.
Array. Okay, so can you tell me how?
Sir, no.
Sir, binary search tree.
Min max heap.
BST.
Okay, someone I'm hearing a lot of good suggestions. So someone told array, which
Min
Uh,
max.
I am assuming that you
array
realize that that is not
help.
true because I have already spoken about it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, then there's the binary tree, and then there is
Min max heap.
min max heap or whatever, min heap say or max heap, whatever you want.
Hashing.
What is hashing? Hashing is not a data structure, sir. It is a technique. What do you do with the hashing? You want to put it as a hash table?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. What do you think? Which
So-
of them can we is it true?
Sir,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah. Go ahead.
Binary tree, I'm assuming when the person, I'm assuming that what they mean is a BST. In BST, we cannot do find in N always, sir. Because if it is extremely skewed, then find will
very
become a
good.
linear time.
Right. So if it is very skewed in a binary tree, then the worst case runtime is not small of n. So you can
Then we
hope,
can take AVM,
Sir,
AVM tree.
yes, which is kind of more balanced, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but
or weight
min max
balance.
heap is direct, right?
Sorry.
Min max heap will directly give you what you want, right?
Yeah, sure. But as an alternative, either AVM or a weight balance tree.
Yeah. Weight balance tree. Yes.
Good. So I will get back to it, all of them. Okay. Now I know that there are some people of you here who have not seen heaps, right? Particularly the MTech CRS people. So I would like you guys to go back and think on this thing a little bit. Okay, which of them, particularly this concept, go and read from your place. What happens with the min max heap? Can you do it? Is there an array, sorry, data structure for which you can do both of them quickly? Okay, and believe me, if we can do that, I will very soon show you today only that you can possibly do some pretty non-trivial things very easily. Okay. Okay, so this is something that I leave you to think of on your own. Many of you are thinking on your, I mean, as I was talking about it, which is very good, and many of you got some good ideas and correct ideas also. But for all of you, I would like you guys to think about this particular problem. Just 1 second. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
You're
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir.
So good. So this is a question that I want you guys to think. Okay. For everybody, if you have got it, fine. If you have not understood it or do it, you think about it. Okay. Now I'll ask you another question. Just like here, you guys told, okay, so I told that, okay, I could do the find in an array in order login, right? And insert in order n and all those kind of stuff. But what is the lowest amount for which we can do it? Or is there a data structure for which find can take small o of log n, or basically much lower than log n steps? What do you guys say?
Hash table, I think it's a hash table,
Do you think it's a hash table?
but
what's
it
the hash
depends
table?
on the hashing function.
Okay, how will you find it?
But for hash table, there might be linear probing or so. For that case, it might
Hello?
take a big of n, right?
Yeah.
No, sir, because
So
comparisons must be done for find.
it depends on the hash.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling.
So you are saying that from hash table you might be able to do it.
No, sir, there are theoretical limits on like lower bounds on searching, right?
That's what I'm telling. It depends. If it's
It depends on what.
No. Independent of that, there are theoretical limits. Faster than that, you can't sort. Faster than that, you can't search.
Yes, Sahil, you are completely right. But one of your friend was saying that there is a. It depends on how we are using the hash table, right? It is actually what Sahil is told is correct. Okay, so let me give you a proof. Okay, and this is the first proof of lower bound that you will see. I will say theorem. Let me put it as a theorem. Okay, that there does not exist any data structure for which, or any data structure / algorithm, whatever you want to call it. Sorry. Hello, I cannot hear you. Okay, somebody is trying to say something. Vinay, you are saying trying to say something, but I cannot hear you properly. Can you raise? Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible. His internet is creating problems, right? now,
Okay.
that's all.
So Vinay, if you have anything, you can
no,
maybe.
sir. My mic is closed.
Okay. Right. So there is this. There doesn't exist any data structure or algorithms which can find in small o of log n steps. Now, how do you do it? Okay, so this is a question. No, so this is not a question. This is a statement. Now, how do you prove such a thing? Okay, so this is a limit. Like as I told you, like many of you are confused, right? Okay, maybe there is some data structure. Maybe there are clever usage of hash table that will give you do it and all. But somehow, I am claiming that no. Irrespective of how clever you are, what are things that you use, you cannot do it better than or a login. Okay. So why? Okay. So here is the proof. So all these algorithms are based on what is called comparison, right? So you are basically going to ask that, okay, so I have a x, and you are going to ask, is x less than ai or not? This is the question, right? And accordingly you make some move, or you will take some other maybe a function of x, and you ask, is function of x less than some hash object bi or not, right? All these algorithms proceed by asking this kind of questions. I have a number, is this number bigger than this object or less than this object? And accordingly I make a move. Binary search also does that, anything will do that. Okay, now we will say that, okay, why is it necessary? Okay, these are necessary because what we are talking about is, whenever we talk about objects that we want to sort or something, you don't have to be numbers, it doesn't have to be integers, it doesn't have to be real numbers. All it has to have is certain amount of total sorting, total ordered. Okay, so this can be anything for which I have a very good understanding of which is less than what. Okay, numbers and all are basically a good way to start, but you can have various other concepts. Okay, in general, what we call as total ordered, anything which has a total order, we can do that. Now let's try to understand what happens in the case of comparisons. Okay, so how does an algorithm go? How does the algorithm proceed? Now an algorithm can do a lot of crazy stuff. It can have a if, while, if conditions, if then conditions, a while loop, some kind of crazy stuff, God knows what, right? But at the end of the day, the first question that it's going to make up is something like a comparison, right? So maybe A is more than or equal to B or not. I don't know what is this thing, but it will do something of the form. Maybe this is related to X. Maybe this is related, not related to X. Maybe it's related to f of X. I don't know. But the first thing that it will do is that, is this less than or equal to B or not? Something. Now, in that case, it has three options. What all three options are there? Either it can get, okay, sorry, it can say that, okay, X is less than B. It can have X is bigger than B, and it can have X is equal to B. Now the algorithm based on that moves on, right? And okay, X is less than B. I am going to make some other question. Maybe is C less than equal to D or not? If X is equal to, maybe I am going to ask, is X less than or equal to E or not? If X is more than B, maybe I will ask whether Y is bigger than F or not. Something. They don't have to be same. Depending on my answer that I've got, I am making the next move. I'm not saying which part of the algorithm. This can be a part inside an if loop. It can be a part inside the while loop. Doesn't matter what, but you keep on doing this. And exactly every time you will get three different answers at most, right? So this object is what is known as a computation tree. So any algorithm produces a computation tree. Class is also okay. So any algorithm can be thought of as a computation tree. Now, what happens with this tree? Let's see. After doing a lot of things, maybe you come to a place, you make the final query, some query, okay, and you say, oh, is Z less than W or not? And you get an answer. Z is less than W, Z is equal to W, or Z is bigger than. And then what do you output here? See, what we wanted was to find, right? So that means you would like to output a position, right? A position where the X is present. So you ideally this will be like, okay, now you have given me all the answers. I'm going to say that, okay, the position of X is, say, should be in the first place. A position of X is in the 10th place. A position of X is in the, say, last place, or say nth place, or something like that, right? After doing all this computation, at the end of the day, you have to give me a position that, okay, see, in the data structure that is there, this is the position, right? Very good. Good. So here I have. So this is a computation tree. Let's try to understand all of these various things that are there. So there are this, it's a tree. Note that every leaf has, every node has exactly 3 child, right? 3 child or doesn't have anything. Either it's a leaf or it has 3 child. Number 1, right? So degree of any node is less than or equal to 3. That's first thing. What can you say about the number of leaves?
So 4, less than or equal to 4. No?
Why less than or equal to 4?
Are you only counting child degree?
Number of leaves.
There will be n factorial
okay.
leaves, right?
Why there will be
Because
n factorial
any
leaves?
order, like through comparisons, we would create, in some sense, we are creating an order of the
No, I'm not
particular
interested in the
value.
order. The algorithm is
Sir,
not
it
I
will
just
be,
put an order.
sir, it
of-
will be 3 raised to the power n, where n is the like h is the
No.
depth of the
I
tree.
No,
was
no,
just
no, hold on.
asking
Don't think in that direction. We'll come to that
your-
direction later.
Then
Okay.
n leaves
the
probably, because
definition.
n can, like, x can be in n of the positions, and at each of the positions the tree would terminate at a leaf. So
Right.
then there are n
So
leaves.
how many positions are there where a particular x can be? To start with, the data structure had n points, right? N objects. Fine. So there are at least n positions where it can go. X can be in any, or n plus 1 maybe. Right? I don't know how the other things are stored, but I have to tell them that there are these places where x should be there. And I should output something. X is anything, right? I'm not told you that x has to be in the minimum or maximum or the median or something like that. So I can give you an x. Note that this whole computation tree is not for a particular x. This is general. An algorithm as a whole will make this kind of stuff. A run of an algorithm is basically, it will ask this question, okay? Then depending on the answer, it will go somewhere. Then depending on the answer, it will go somewhere, and so on. A run of an algorithm is a path from the root to its leaf. This is a run of one run of an algorithm. This is the whole algorithm together, okay? And at the end, it should say that, okay, if this is the run that I have done, I will have to output that p of x is something. Right? So different run of the algorithm will give me different, possibly, for different x's, I'll have different runs of the algorithm, and which will output different positions. Since the number of positions is at least n, so that means the number of leaves is also n, bigger than n. Okay. Is this thing clear?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Can you please explain where you are finding a problem?
Sir, I don't understand the term at least.
Oh,
Why are you saying?
okay. So I have said, so think of it that I have given you a numbers. The numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. Okay. Now I'll give you an x and I tell you, go and find a position of x. Okay. You have stored it in some way. You have to tell me something, right? What all possible answers can you give me?
There are 11 possibilities.
There are 11 possibilities, right? So that means n plus 1. Right? So if I give you x equals to 0, you would output me something that will have a run, and it will output me at the end. You will output me, oh, okay, this position should be the before 1. If I give x equals to 2, say 2.5, it will make another run and will output me something. Right? So different places will give me different positions. Right?
Yes.
And in a leaf, I cannot, each leaf has a fixed amount, fixed thing. So this leaf says that, okay, I have done it, and this number should be between 5 and 6. That's it. Right? So the number of leaves, so each leaf should say, if each leaf talks about a position, And how many positions are there? N plus 1. So the number of leaves has to be bigger than n plus 1. Is this clear now?
Sir, there are exactly n plus 1 positions.
They are exactly n
So
plus 1
how,
position. Oh,
so
okay.
how
Why
can-
why I'm saying at least? So maybe there are some other path, I don't know, that might also output the same thing. Maybe this also says that px is equals to 1. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the algorithm is some stupid algorithm. Okay, I don't know how
Okay.
many things are there, but I know that at least there must be n leaves and n plus 1 leaves. That much I need to know.
okay.
Okay, I mean, here we are talking about all algorithm, not an algorithm that you have given, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the number of leaves is at least n plus 1, or maybe let's put it as order n or theta n. Okay, fine.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
what is the height of this tree? H.
At least log base 3 of n plus 1.
Okay, that's very good. So one person has already told that h must be therefore at least log n base 3. But what does this h signify?
It's the number of operations
Longest
performed by
path.
the
No,
algorithm.
no. Longest
Long-
path will have to take for the.
I think both of you
yeah.
told the same thing in two different ways. Yes, it is the longest path from the node to some leaf. Or in other words, it is the longest or most number of computation that the algorithm need to do for some instance. Right? So there is a one particular thing is h, that means there exists a particular x for which I will of course take this that particular path, right? I will take this particular path, and that will give me the h. So h is therefore the worst case runtime. It is not the average case. It is the worst case runtime. Right?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, how come the 3 in the log n base? In the
Ah,
3, actually, I cannot understand the 3. How come this 3?
Okay. So there is how many nodes are here? One,
One.
right? How many nodes are here in this layer?
3.
3. How
Three.
many nodes are there in the next node? Maximum, how many nodes can there be?
9.
9. What is 9? 3 square. How many next thing can be there?
Okay, okay. 3
3
cube.
cube, right? So at the hth level, the maximum number of nodes that can be is 3 to the power h.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Now, if all the nodes leaves were at the, yeah, I mean, yeah. Now go and do the calculation. It's a plain discrete math thing. Okay. Yeah. So you can prove that the number of leaves has to be less than half the total number of nodes, and at least half the total number of nodes, and from there you will get that h is bigger than log n base 3. Okay, so this is the worst thing, that after h you have n of them, so this has to be bigger than n in some sense, which means that h has to be bigger than n to n log n base 3. Okay, so this argument kind of says that any algorithm, now I'm not talking about some particular clever algorithm or not, no, any algorithm has to make at least log n base 3 or theta log n number of comparisons before it can find a point in the worst case. Okay. So you don't expect to find in order log n time, at least in the worst case. Is this clear?
Sir, can you repeat once again?
Which part?
This last part. This
This last part?
the last step.
They means the
We
eighth thing.
cannot. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So what does it mean? So what is this? So I have got this result, right? You understood that I have got that the degree of every node is at least at most 3.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. You have also got understood the number of leaves has to be n plus 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the height is log
So
n
that means the
theta log.
height has to be log n. What
Yeah.
does it mean? And height is the worst case runtime. So what does it mean? And the worst case runtime of the algorithm or whichever algorithm you pick has to be more than log of n choose 3. Okay, so that means exactly this is what I have told, that there doesn't exist any data structure algorithms for which you can do the find operation in much lower than log n steps in the worst case. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, you can go and take it as a exercise. What happens in the average case? Okay. You can prove the same thing for average case also with a little bit more thinking. Okay, but I will not go into that in this class. So this is not that this is the lower bound. This is what we call as a lower bound algorithm. Okay. We are saying that any algorithm has a limitation. You cannot beat the log n bound. Now, maybe people are a bit confused about this log n base 3 and all. So maybe this is something I should write it here. That log n base 3 is nothing but log n base 2 times log 2 base 3. This is the constant. So this is equals to theta log n. So this is something that please go and revisit your logs from your what you have done in your high school, properties of logs and so on. That will be useful a lot in this course.
Sir, clarification on notation. When you say LOG, you mean base 2, not the natural logarithm.
Doesn't matter because once you are putting in
Yeah, true.
this order and all, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether you put a log, I mean, you can put a natural log also, and that would be perfectly fine. It will have log e base 3, which is the constant.
Okay, understood.
Okay. So as soon as you put the asymptotic notations there, it doesn't matter what you put there. Log 2, log 3, log 100, log e, doesn't matter. All of them are basically theta of each other. Fine.
Yes, sir, understood.
Any questions? Because this is something that we will revisit again, I think, later on. And this is kind of very important to understand this lower bound concepts. Okay. Okay. So if you have understood this, so now we have kind of we are where we wanted to be. We now understand that, okay, you need at least, so I have these two noted things that I need: find and insert. Now you need at least login, that I know. And question is that, can you have a small o of n? Yes. Okay. Or in fact, can you have, is this tight? Maybe I can make this thing very clear. Can you have an upper bound of login? I have not yet proved this. Okay. So you can upper bound of login or not. Now, why is it important? Let's try to use our this thing. Let's try to use this find and insert thing for sorting. Okay. So I want to sort. What does it mean by that? I have an input. What is the input of the algorithm? Inputs are some numbers a1 to an. I have not told you which is bigger, which is lower. I don't know idea. Okay. And output, I want to output them, okay, in a way that I want to. So I1, AI2 till AIN, such that these are bigger. I want to kind of sort them. But this is what I want to do. This is called a sorting algorithm. Now, can you do it? How can you do it? So there are many ways that you have guys. I mean, I'm sure you have done sorting in your life. How many of you have played cards ever in your life? Nobody
Sorry,
of
sir,
you have
what?
ever played a card?
No,
Yes,
we
sir.
have played
Yes, sir.
many
Sorry?
games. We have played so many games, yes.
You have played many games, right? In cards.
Yes.
I'm seeing that some people are raising hands and the other people are too good. They cannot accept the fact that they can play cards. By the way, you have come to ISI. In ISI, without playing cards, you cannot do anything. Because this is a land of probability and statistics and all. That card games are the way to go. So every time when you play a card, there are times comes when you have to sort the deck, right? You want to sort the set of cards, this all set of cards into some particular order. Maybe first you want to sort them in terms of the suit, spades, then clubs, then whatever. And inside them, you want to sort them 1 to 10 and so on. Jack, king, jack, queen, king, so on, right? How do you do it? How would you do it? Just 1 second. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So can you guys suggest me what all techniques have you used for sorting?
Insertion
Sort.
sort.
Merge sort, deep
Worst.
sort,
And
quick sort.
come on, don't tell me that you have ever used merge sort in your life to sort a card deck of cards.
Like
I mean, don't say things which are just from the book.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
place
yeah.
it by suit first. We place it by suit.
You place it by suit. Okay, so that is one part that you do,
And
right?
then and after we have placed it by suit, we start randomly picking up, and whenever we find a card is higher or lower, then we start putting them in their places.
Ah, good. So your first thing that you are saying, so this is a very nice thing that you say, right? So you are basically, you want to pick a card, okay, and place the card in a proper place, in its proper place. This is something that we do a lot of times. Okay. So basically, I mean, if I could have drawn some set of cards, like if I do it in terms of the numbers kind of stuff, I have the A1 to AN. I'm picking a number A1 and I put A1 here. Okay. Then I pick A2. Then I say, okay, I will see whether A2 goes before A1 or after A1. Okay, maybe A2 goes before, after A2, A1, I will place it there. Then I look A3 and I go and find out where does A3 goes. Where does A3 goes? Okay, maybe the A3 actually goes between A2 and A1. So I will move this A2 and I put A3 over here. Then I take A4. And where does A4 go? Okay, maybe A4 goes also between A1 and A3. Sorry. So I will move this one and put A4 over here. Then I have A5. Okay, where does A5 go? Oh, A5 is bigger than A2. So I put A5 here. And so on, right? Every time you are basically maintaining, so this is a kind of a sorted list that you are maintaining, and you are picking elements from this random deck one by one and inserting. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, I just saw that there's some internet unstable and all. So I thought disconnected. Anyways, right? So you pick it up, you find and insert, right? So what is the first thing that you can do? You can pick X. So maybe I can just start with, okay, so what is it? So say input is a set S, output is a set T, which is sorted. That is what I want, right? And what I can do is that while S is not equal to empty, take X from S, remove, I update S, I remove X from this one, find position of X in T, insert the X in T in the right place and continue. Right? This is a simple algorithm. Correct. Now, this algorithm is exactly what is known as the insertion sort. But although insertion sort has some other things, but this is basically the same thing, that you are picking up and putting it where it belongs. Now, what is the time complexity of this algorithm? How many steps does this algorithm take? Okay, maybe before that, are you guys convinced that this will give you the correct answer?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Yes, sir.
Can you prove that this will give you the correct answer? How will you prove it?
For each step, it basically finds the correct position. It basically finds the correct position for that particular card, and we will find the correct position, right? So it basically proving that the array will be sorted.
Okay, so formally speaking, this is something that was done, that is there in the video that was of the proof that is uploaded. There's something what is usually is called loop invariant. You want to say that the loop maintains some property. Okay. Now for here, you can have a loop invariant, but says that the T is always sorted. So this can be our loop invariant. Somebody send me a chat.
Oh, and the size of T is increasing.
Size of T is increasing, size of S slowly goes down. So
Exactly.
just one second. A lot of phone calls. Hello. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So you have this loop invariant and you kind of prove. So this is kind of, you can think of this like the induction thing only, except that you are kind of saying that as I add x to the t, however times I am doing this whole thing, my t is always sorted. Okay. And once you do this, you have this, you can prove that when the algorithm stops, which basically means that when t becomes, s becomes empty, the T has all of them, and which is the sorted, right? Now, what is the runtime of this algorithm? What is the time complexity?
N square.
Why n square?
It'll depend on find TX and insert TX.
Exactly, it will
And
depend on the
complexities of
find
those two.
Tx. Yeah. See, there, of course, this while loop runs for n steps, n times, right?
Yes.
And every time you are doing a find and an insert, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
basically, you can think of the upper bound is n into find Tx plus insert Tx. Now what is T? I have not told you. Right? Okay, T is something that changes. So in the worst case, if T is of size n, so this is the kind of the hardest setting. So this will be ordered n times find n, kind of stuff like that. So maybe, sorry, I should not write it that way. So if say Fn is the cost of finding, is the time complexity of finding a position when size of T is n, and similarly insert n is the time complexity when for inserting when the size of T is n. Then this time complexity that I am talking about, time complexity of the whole algorithm, So this is order of what? N into T of n, sorry, f of n plus I of n.
Sir, based on what we just talked, we haven't finished the proof of the second part, but we said that f of n is at best log n and I sub n is at best n, right?
Yes.
So
I
can
said
we say
at
that
best n, I did not say that.
sorting is at best n log?
No, hold on. I did not say I of insert is at best n.
I
This is
see.
where I left
Is
it.
there anything better?
Yeah, think about it.
Okay, sir.
Think about it.
Even with this bound, sorting would at best be n log n, right?
Even with this bound, but that is not going to give you a lower bound of sorting. This is the one algorithm, right? This is one algorithm using this insert and find thing through which you can get an possibly something like n log n algorithm. But that
I see.
doesn't mean that some other algorithm doesn't exist. Okay. So
Understood.
here we are presenting one type of algorithm. Okay. Now, in fact, if you go and look in this algorithm a bit more closely, you can do a bit more finer analysis actually. Because this actually the order will be ordered summation of fi plus I equals to 1 to n. Maybe this is slightly better, maybe slightly low, not better, I don't know. So this is a generic technique of using a find and insert to an algorithm. Okay, this is not necessarily the only algorithm for sorting. We will soon see various very other kind of algorithms. But this is one technique. Okay. Now there are other things that are important here. We are only talking about time complexity. What is the space complexity?
Constant.
Okay, so what is space complexity means? Space complexity means that I have, of course, given this input S. So that cannot be counted against me, right? So that is something that is there. It is important. So question is that how much extra space am I using? The way in which I have presented here, I have to store this T separately. So that will take order n space in the worst case. Right? So as far as I have presented it, this one has space complexity order n. But maybe we don't need to use T separately, because as S is going down, T is going up. So maybe I can use both of them together. And all that matters is S plus T kind of stuff. So can I somehow use this space that S is losing to create things that T is gaining? Okay. And if I can do that, then that would possibly help me in improving the space complexity. Fine. Any questions? Hello.
So, like I couldn't hear you clearly. Could you just like repeat what you just said?
I mean, so was there an internet problem from my end?
Yeah. No, from my end. Like
Okay,
from
okay.
Yes,
the
sir.
app.
There is also some blurring.
Yes, sir, your
from your
voice is
side.
breaking.
My voice is also working. Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Oh.
it's your internet. Sir.
Oh, okay. It's on your end.
Yeah. So I just told that the way in which I have presented this algorithm, I am storing this T separately, which means that the amount of space I have to use this space for storing this T, which is order n. But maybe by cleverly doing things, I can save this space, because see, size of S is going down while size of T is going up. Right? So can I somehow use the size of S and size of T together in a clever way so that I don't have to spend extra space? So while whatever I have presented, the space complexity is order n, can you do better? Okay. Fine. Did you guys all with me?
Yes, sir. Understood. Understood.
Okay. So now somebody had already jumped up and told that insertion sort is order n square. Now, why is it order n square? Because in general, while I've talked about this thing, till now, what you have guys have seen is that if you use the simple binary search in array kind of stuff like that, then what happens? Fn is order log n, but insert is order n. So then this becomes order n square. So if I may use a different color, if we use binary search and insert in array, then this becomes order n square. And this is exactly what the insertion sort does. Okay. So what is called as insertion sort is this. Okay. Although we can think of the insertion sort as a much general thing. It is anything. You pick any find and insert algorithm and a subroutine and put it. And we will see that there are actually pretty clever algorithms that will optimize, that will in fact give the best algorithm in some sense, with the best.
Sir,
find and
I
insert.
couldn't get how.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I couldn't get how insertion took order of n, because I was also thinking binary search will help to reduce the searching by log n.
Yes, binary search helps to search by log n, but how do you insert?
Log n, but oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is, I think neither did you read my video or see my video that was posted, neither were you there in the beginning of the class, right? Yeah. So that's exactly, so I had done this one in the class, that while you can do find in order log n, how do you insert it? The only way of inserting in an array is to move. So if I have to insert a number x in somewhere here, I can find where to insert in order log n. But to insert it here, I have to move this whole chunk to one by one amount, make a space, and then.
Yes, one further. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes, sir. We shifted all of them to the right word.
Yes. And that's why the insert took order n.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, if you can of course deal with hello, can you hear me? Or my voice is breaking now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So also you can do the linked list where find takes order n, but insertion is very quick. But all we are interested in find plus insert, which still remains order n. Right?
Yes, sir.
So you don't get anything extra, at least to start with right now. Now I can jump ahead and tell you that since you guys have already seen heap panel, think about heap, mean heap or max heap, and then see what happens in the same algorithm. Does it magically help? And this is exactly what gives us what is known as heap sort. We will talk about it later, maybe in two classes later. But if for people who are a bit ahead of this class, you can think about this direction. Okay. So there, this Fn plus In will be lower. Yeah, go ahead. Hello, somebody wanted to say something?
Sir, if we use binary search and insert in array, then it should be order of n plus order of log n, no?
Right, very good. It will be
Why
order
you
of
write
n
order
plus
of n
order
square?
n plus order. What is order of n plus order of log n? What is this quantity?
Order of n.
This is also order of n.
Yeah, you write order of n square. That's why I'm
No,
asking.
this is just okay. This is just I of n plus f of n. This part, and then there's an n over here. So that's why we are getting order of n square.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So Siddhartha, are you so is it clear? I mean, this part, these things I'm going to
Yes, sir.
assume.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, I'm not going to even explain this kind of stuff. But if you are struggling with this kind of stuff, please contact your TAs and get it sorted. These are for the asymptotic notations and all those things. I will not go into these details in this course. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, please. Please get these things clarified. I mean, of course you can ask questions, but if you are struggling, I would suggest that you go and revisit the asymptotic notations once.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
During considering space complexity, do we
Right.
consider the size already the data has taken, or
No,
extra space the data will
extra
take to
space,
perform an
extra space.
algorithm?
Extra space.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
data has already comes with order n space, right? Or n space exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Any extra space do I
Yes.
need?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Now there are other properties of a sorting algorithm that we might want to look at. So what all things have you seen? We have seen time complexity. We have seen space complexity. Right? But then there are other things. For example, in the time complexity, I was only looking at the worst case runtime. Now, what happens the average case runtime? What is average case runtime? Average case time complexity. So note that you have been given these numbers A1 to AN, right? But any permutation of them would also be in the same set. Correct? So
Yes,
A1
sir.
to AN is the input, right? And all that we care is the ordering between them. It doesn't matter whether these numbers are 1 to 100 or whether it is 101 to 200 or whether it is 1 million to 100 million, right? 1 million, 2 million to 100 million. That doesn't matter for us. All that we care is that, oh, there are how many number of points are there and there is an ordering. Now, the algorithm could have given me in this form. The algorithm could have given me in some other form, say maybe 3, 2, 4, 1, something. The algorithm could have also given me some other way, 4, 1, 4, 5, so on. How many ways could the algorithm have presented me this set? Hello?
Are you saying the total number of possible inputs of a given length?
Total number of possible ways that an input can be given. Yes.
N factorial?
It will be n
N
factorial,
factorial.
right? So number of possible inputs in some sense is n factorial, right? Now, worst case algorithm says that, okay, there are these n factorial possibilities. What is the worst thing that could have happened to us? Right? and the algorithm would have taken this much amount of time. But maybe the data, maybe we are not that much worried about what happens in the word setting. Can we say that for most of the settings it can do something nice? So in other words, if average complexity means average over average time complexity over the n factorial possible n factorial input. Okay. How much time does it take? Now there are some other things also. What is called the best time complexity. What happens if the algorithm gave you a sorted list? The algorithm was already sorted. Then what happens?
Big of n.
On order
It's
one.
not very clear that all
No
the algorithms,
constant.
I mean, the algorithms might be not be able to take advantage of this option, and might have to go through this whole thing as, I mean, go through the whole drill, right?
Yes.
So in that case, what happens? For example, it all depends upon this worst case and best case algorithm for this, say, fn plus in in this setting for our insertion based technique.
So there will be no cost of insertion, but there will be a cost of find.
There will be a cost of find, right? Now there are some other properties that are there of an algorithm that we should be looking at. This algorithm that we are talking about is, say, what happens, there's something called a stable sorting algorithm. Okay, so this is something that is very important. For example, how many of you have used Excel?
Me.
Me, only 1%. That's all. None of you have used ever Excel
No, sir.
in your life.
No, sir, I've used it.
You've used it.
No, sir, yeah, I have.
So say I want to,
I have used.
okay, good. So now say I have so you say all of you have got various scores, right? In this exam, say, or in your last semester, you've got various scores in your exam, right? I want to sort them in terms of the amount of marks that you have got. Fine. So what do? I sort it along according to the number of marks that you have got. Very good. But now I want to do something more. I want to sort them in terms of the number of marks that you have got. But if 5 people have got or if 2 people have got the same marks, I want the person whose roll number is higher to come first among those 2. Or may forget that. The person who has got a better marks in the end sem, that person should be ranked higher. How do I do it? Is the problem clear? If not, I can give you an example.
Yes, sir.
You first sort by total marks and then by end sem marks.
End sem, and then I have the total, right? So say some maybe 90, 80, 90, 70, 30, something like that. And the end sem marks is maybe 50, 20. Okay. I don't know, I'm just giving you some numbers. 70, 30, 10, maybe 40, and so on, right? I want to sort them. So if I sort them, what happens? If I just sort them based on the total marks, then what will end up happening? So maybe P1,
90, 90, 80.
P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, right? I'm hoping that I've done a good job of this. So if I just sort them, then I would have something like, say, P1, P3, P6, then P whatever, P2, P4,
P2, P5.
and P5, right? But see, look at this thing, P1, P3, P6, both all of them has got 90 marks, but their NSEM marks are not sorted. I want to say that, so see, my goal is to say that, okay, see, P3 has got better NSEM and I want to give him, I want to rate him higher. So I would like to have P3, P1, P6. How will I get that? Hello.
So first you'll sort by total, then you'll consider the
Okay, so
sublist of
so
those
on the
people who
first,
have
let's,
same marks and then sort.
oh, first I sort by total and then I sort by NSEM.
NSEM, but not entirely.
Not
Only those
entirely.
people who
Okay,
have.
that's very complicated, right?
Exactly.
Mean if I kind of.
Hmm?
We can use heap sort for it. Rest whatever for this portion only.
Okay, for this portion only. Okay, but that's like very complicated. Then I have to go and search out and all. But I mean, this is a toy example, but in normal cases, it's a much more complicated thing, right? How many of them are same? Go and find out and run algorithms, sort algorithms separately on them. How will you do it in Excel?
Sir, whenever we find some marks which are already obtained by another person, we would go to the list of, we will
Okay.
check his NSEM marks.
Okay,
with
this
the
is, see again, you are giving me a complete, very
person
complicated
whichever-
algorithm in some sense. So what Excel does is that it first sorts by NSEM. What happens if you sort by NSEM? What will happen? I will get P3, then P1, P6. Okay, actually, maybe I should put some other number here. Say maybe let's put this one also as P40. Okay, the P4, P6, and whatever P5, P2, P5, right? This is what I would have got if I had sorted based on the NSEM. Now I sort it based on total. Now, because inside, after I sort it based on NSEM, see this P1, P3, and P6. So these three are, sorry. So these three
Already sorted kind
are
of.
same number, but then all they're sorted in the way that I want. Okay. When I sort it based on NSEM, this is P1. Sorry, what is this? P1, right? Yeah. It would put P1, P3, P6 above everybody, but in the order in which it is already sorted. No, maybe I made a mistake here. No. It should be P3, then it is
P3, P1, P6.
Yes. So while when I sort it, in this respect, these three are all same, but they will maintain the previous ordering that was there. Okay, so this is what is called stable sorting, a sorting in which if the two numbers or two objects are identical, are same order, then you keep it in the relative place position as it was in the beginning. Okay, not all algorithms does that. Not all algorithms does that, but some algorithms maintain this previous order, and this is what is called stable sorting.
Sir, a question.
Yeah.
So suppose you have a lot of words of same length.
Yes.
And you have to sort them in alphabetical order.
Right.
So using what we just did, you would first sort them by their last alphabet letter, right?
Yeah.
And then proceedingly go towards the left.
Right.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, exactly. This is the dictionary ordering that comes out. Now, then there is also something called a in-place sorting. This is something related to this, the amount of space that you are going to use, and whether you are really creating something new, you are putting something there or not, or you are just doing on the fly. Because many times you want to sort things based on, you want to sort a lot of files based on its name, right? And we don't want to really goof up by kind of move this whole file. We just want to just maintain this I mean, just want to not move these files, but just the names. So we want to store space there also. So I don't want to move this whole object at all. Just let it be where it is, and then do this sorting. Then there are other properties also, including simple thing like how simple is the algorithm. Some algorithm is very complicated, then maybe people are not that interested in running it. Okay. So then there is another thing which is that, I mean, if I give you an almost sorted array and I add an extra variable, then how much time does it take to get this whole thing sorted? So there are various of these measures that goes into understanding the importance of an algorithm, particularly sorting algorithm. Okay. So we will be in the next few classes going over some of the sorting algorithms, and we will see how these sorting algorithms compare with each other in these various notions of importance of an or properties of a sorting algorithm. So in today's class, I just went over a generic technique using insertion and finding and insertion, and from the next class we will be going over some other of the algorithms. So many of the algorithms I'm sure you guys have already seen in some sense. So I don't want to spend too much time on trying to going over the basic algorithms as such. So what I will do is that I will upload a slide, okay, on containing some of these basic algorithms, and please go over it, see what's going on there, okay, and we can come back next class and discuss on them. So to recap, what all things did we see today? We saw we went over this finding and insertion. We went over the lower bound for finding. We saw how finding and insertion can help us to obtain a sorting algorithm. We left a question whether you can come up with a finding and insertion using some data structure which has theta log n time. We have not done that, but that's the question that has been left open. And we basically went over this insertion sort, which was this special case when we use the finding and insertion from the binary search and in an array kind of stuff like that. And we have discussed some of the various aspects of a sorting algorithm that we would like to understand. Okay, so I will be uploading this one slide. Other than this particular write-up, I will upload a slide containing some other algorithms, some basic algorithms like bubble sort, selection sort, and maybe a little bit of merge sort. Please go over them. Okay, and please go over them. The next class is in a week's time, so please go over them. Not week's time, next Monday. Yeah, and we will come back and discuss these algorithms in more details and how to go about it. Try to understand these algorithms.
Sir,
Yeah.
you posed 3 questions, right?
I
average
posed
disk
one of them
time,
was this
log
thing.
and bound for search.
Sorry, I posed this one, right? This is one question.
And
Other one was the kind of the average case, right? So can you so we told that in the worst case, the searching, the find can take omega cannot take less than log n, but what happens in the average case, right? And what was the third question? I forgot actually.
insertion takes big O of log n.
Yeah, so that is this thing only, right? So yeah, so whether can you do this thing in order log n, right? So actually there are 2 questions.
Oh, and also,
yeah, which one?
No, there is one space. Can we improve space complexity of insertion?
Oh, right, very
better
good.
than
Can we
log n?
improve the space complexity of yeah, can we improve the space complexity beyond O of n? Excellent. Yeah, so these are the 3 questions. Okay, so these are not assignments or something, you don't have to solve them and but you think about them. Okay, try to think about it and come before your next class. See, I don't want you guys to go and just read these algorithms from the book and memorize them. I want you guys to think about why these algorithms are there and what is basically going on in this whole thing, and why are slowly things were developed like this, and what are the various advantages of various things. Of course, the books are there, you can go and read them, but it's important that we think in slightly different way than the books also. Okay. So any questions, any other questions? So if you don't have any questions, then we can stop for the day today. Shomi, do you want to say something? Oh, also I forgot to mention that MTech CS students, you guys have your tutorial on Friday. I think I posted this things already in the I posted it already in the Google Classroom, and yeah, so I think we might be uploading a problem set also sometimes in the weekend or something like that, so that you guys can also start working on that problem set. So you don't have to submit them, as I told you, it's just for your practice. Okay. And
Sir, and did you say that assignments will be bi-weekly?
Something like that. Yeah, in every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks there will be one assignment. Okay. Okay, so let's stop today. Okay, so see you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.